If you're an entrepreneur and you're starting your business, or you've been going for a little while and wondering, how do I deal with cybersecurity? How do I grow a network across the planet that makes people feel safe, gets them to spend their money with me or through me, and also they can rest assured that I'm giving them the best possible customer service. And also, when I apply AI and integrate it with my team are doing, they don't run a mile because it all works smoothly together. Then you've got to watch this episode. Do not go anywhere else. Broadcast and recorded live at MISK Global Forum in Saudi. This is Speak on Stage. So if you're running a digital agency or launching a business and you're wondering, how do I grow online and create a place or a platform where my clients, my subscribers, my shareholders can all come along and feel comfortable knowing fine well that their data is safe and in very good hands while I work on the business and expand it, I got the chance to share these questions and these thoughts and get some insights from three incredible leaders in their industry. This was recorded live on stage at the main stage at MISK Global Forum, and that was in Riyadh in Saudi. Now, if you're wondering what that event is, the link is in the comments. Make sure you subscribe and come along to the next one. Over 40,000 young people came along to see and hear the insights that would help them to launch a global business. Make sure you're there as well. But meanwhile, enjoy. These insights could well change your life. This is Speak on Stage. Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see you. First of all, before we start anything, good afternoon. Oh, come on. It's going to be a long day otherwise. Good afternoon. Perfect. Excellent. My name is davecrane. It's my pleasure to be your host for the very first panel that we have today. And we've got some incredible guests who are going to be sharing exactly their thoughts because they're pioneers in their industry. The session now is called Digital Walls Have Ears. I've got the privilege of looking into the world of data privacy and how that affects your business, including misinformation and whether your stuff is actually safe. I'm going to share that with the leading minds of the industry. So I'm going to share, first of all, our wonderful guests. Next to me, we have Nathan Chan, the founder and CEO of Founder. Next, we have the visionary Nathan Chan, who actually, his journey from interviewing business icons like Richard Branson to creating a global media and education empire is nothing short of inspiring. When you Google the gentleman, you go, wow. And his dedication to empowering millions of entrepreneurs through Founder has established him as a trusted guide in the entrepreneurial world. Please put your hands together for Mr. Nathan Chan. Next to Nathan, we have Ahmed Hamdan, the pioneering CEO and co-founder of Uniphonic, and starting with a simple yet innovative idea for group texting with his brother in 2006, Ahmed has led Uniphonic to become a powerhouse used by over 5,000 businesses. And with his impressive fundraising feats and a vision to globalize cloud communications, Ahmed is not just a successful entrepreneur, but also a mentor dedicated to nurturing future talents. Please put your hands together for Ahmed Hamdan. And last but not least, joining us on the end is Nicholas Hulsmans, the dynamic co-founder of Dexerto. Now, Nicholas has shaped Dexerto with a leading voice in digital culture, reaching millions of millennials and Gen Z fans, and is recognized by Forbes 30 Under 30, as well as many other prestigious awards. He's at the forefront of esports and gaming journalism, so please put your hands together for Mr. Nicholas Hulsmans. Fantastic. Great to have you here. It's great to have our wonderful guests and this fly, which seems to like me too much. Must be my aftershave. So we're going to start off with a question to Nathan. I'd like to look at the fact that we've got many people here. How many people are running their own business here? How many people are looking to start their own business? So we've got a real mix of people who are involved in that industry. What I'd like to say is when people get involved in going online, Founder connects budding and established entrepreneurs in the realm of Web3. What's the importance of getting what happens to the first wave, the first party data correct?
Yeah, so for us, I think more than ever when it comes to privacy and paid advertising platforms, they're getting much more, I guess, scrutinised. And so for us as a business, it's really important that we're really focusing on first-party data and collecting it as much as we can to be able to speak to people that are interacting with our brand. So that's really, really important to us.
Thank you. Ahmed, when it comes to omni-channel conversations, I don't know if everybody knows that omni-channel means that all the different platforms you can be on, you should be on. But that's a fascinating conversation because when it comes to creating your content, your data, and putting it out there, most people don't put it onto omni-channel. What would you advise about why people should consider that?
So, being in the communication domain, we deal, with thousands of issues related to, the responsible communication. So, the way we approach that, we think always of three things. Number one is to make it priority, whether you are an organization or an individual or you are a platform, to make that, understanding the impact of the communication as a priority and explain it to the customers, the individuals, how this has to be dealt with. And then, because of the nature of our business, we process billions of transactions that has an important customer data across the platform. We really put privacy and confidentiality as top, and it's very paramount for our business. So also, investing a lot in making sure that people know where to store the data and when and what to share and what not to share. And then last is the culture. If you have this culture and knowledge as part of the DNA of the organization, and the way we approach we are in a very fast-moving digital, economy that almost everything today we do online, and that's great. It creates a lot of opportunity, but then it also creates a lot of risk. And then having this culture of understanding how to deal with that is very important as we navigate this new environment.
Very interesting, because when we're talking about omnichannel, we're talking about technology. Our next guest, Nicholas, you are involved, you're the gaming guru on the stage. Now, here's the thing. The gaming industry for the last few years has been worth more on its own than almost every other industry put together. Now, one of the things that most people don't seem to know is when you play a game and it's free to play, that's because you are the product. And so your data then is being used. What decision-making goes into that process? Because if I'm a kid and I'm playing a game, I don't want to see all my stuff everywhere, but I'm not thinking about it because I'm a kid.
Well, yeah, obviously the gaming industry has been evolving for the last few years significantly. And the ecosystems and the business models too. When I used to be a kid, I used to have a PlayStation, Xbox. I buy my game for $70 and I just can play forever, right? But that evolved. We evolved into a new world where data is a new currency. Obviously, there is also a second reason why they would create games free to play, is because there's microtransactions involved. So they want players to stay with them on a sustainable basis for the long term. They don't want just someone to buy the game once and then just leave after 3 months when they're bored. They want them to stay on board, get the gamers engaged with the brand, with the game, so that they stay forever, or at least for as long as possible. And then you also have the data that you can accumulate together and also either use yourself for your microtransactions or you sell to third parties as well.
From the point of view, and we'll go for each of our panelists on this, what do you think that the businesses who start up in the industries that you've experienced make as the biggest mistakes? That if you could turn back the clock and say, I would do it differently, you could advise them, this is the way we should be moving forward.
Yeah, so I think when I first started my business journey, I had a lot of different ideas, and I think it's easy to fall in love with the idea and not the problem. It's pretty embarrassing to say, but my first business was this cologne review website, which was a bit of a joke because the only way you can review colognes is by smelling them, and I was writing reviews. So I think when you want to start a business, I think the most important thing is fall in love with the problem and don't fall in love with your idea, and really find somebody that will pay you for that. That's what I wish I did sooner.
Mistakes?
Yeah, I will double down in the culture. If there is one thing that I would go back in the history and put it as top priority, is building the right culture within the context of the business. And in our discussion today about the data and the misinformation, if you have the right culture, which means like you have transparency in the organization, you really value the relationship that you build with the customers, you have trust, that will solve a lot of challenges that we face today, because then processes and tools and technology are available to achieve that, you know, digital competence in the organization. But if you have the right mindset and culture, you're going to invest on those things that may not have an immediate, result, but it's very important in the long term and mitigate bigger risk. I saw a lot of organizations who, didn't invest in things like cybersecurity or some even compliance and code of conduct because they think it's not important. But if they have the right culture, they would prioritize that early on because they know that it may have very serious implication in the customer.
And Nicholas, your thoughts on that? Lots of games propping up all the time on different app stores, but there must be mistakes that you see that you should be able to turn around and say, don't do that. What are the biggest choices?
I would always focus on the product first. Focus on the product and don't try to do everything at once. Build an MVP, minimum viable product. You try to see, okay, what has some success with my customers. They don't even have to be customers at the early stage. They can just be people who are just testing out in a beta phase and see how they react with it. Do they enjoy it? Like do some service, try to interact with your customers, with your audience and see what sticks, what doesn't stick, and then adapt as you go. Focus on what matters and focus on what matters for the customers first.
From your experience of launching a business and taking it to the levels that you have, where you've been incredibly successful, for many people starting a business, the choice is, do I put my own money and effort and so into it, or do I look for an investor first? Now, you've got successful businesses. What would you say is the fastest and most effective way to grow your business to a good level? Or would you say, don't do that, just try it out, see if it works, before you get somebody to invest money in it?
Yeah, so from my experience, comes back to what I said before. There's kind of, when I think of, Nicholas talks about products, there's kind of two kinds of products. You've got your vitamins, and I didn't come up with this idea. You've got your vitamins or you've got your painkillers. And what you really, really want to focus on is creating a painkiller product that really solves a problem that someone will pay you for. And then if you can get proof of concept and you can see that this is something that a lot of people will pay you for, then you can go out and raise money. But it depends on the scale of the market and the size of the market. I think some businesses, they don't need venture funding. It really depends on the type of business, the size of the problem and the size of the opportunity.
Yeah, the short answer depends, the safer answer. But, I'm biased because I bootstrapped for 12 years. So I would always, delay taking external money if the business model afford to do that until I figure out the product market fit. I will only inject cash when I want to scale. But before that, it's very risky and has lots of consequences. But I understand some business model are capital intensive, and then you need to raise fund for that. But in today's world, with the AI, you saw companies now being, able to achieve 100 million, in revenue, and only with 5 people. So there's no need to raise capital. It's only the minds and the vision of the team who can leverage the technology to fast track their progress into profitability.
In fact, we're saying that the next billion-dollar company will probably only have 3 members of staff to be able to do it. So anybody here could be enjoying that very soon. Nicholas, your thoughts on it as well?
Well, another way to look at it, the more money you raise, there's 2 outcomes. You either succeed or it's the fastest way to the ground. So I'm a huge fan of just bootstrapping. And in all my business, I do this. With the Cerdo, our business, we've started off with like a business angel with $70,000, which was nothing at the time. It barely even covered our salaries, was all in technology. And it took us 2 years to be profitable, but we never really wanted to raise a lot of money. That was always important to us. And all our competitors, they've raised millions, and we're still beating them. So money is not always the answer, right? So it depends really on what you're trying to build. If you want to reach massive scale on digital, sometimes there's no other choice, but I would always try to look for the bootstrap version first.
Fascinating. When we're talking about each of your different industries and each of the different areas that you cover, The elephant in the room has been artificial intelligence that has just changed everything at such a rate that nothing seems the same. How did you adapt to AI, and how do you think you're going to have to keep adapting? Because those lessons that you're going through can be very useful for the people in the audience. What's your suggestions and advice about AI?
So it's been an interesting one. Everyone talks about it, but I find that, like, from my perspective, a lot of our team aren't adopting it. It's very difficult. It's something that people are often scared of. One thing that we did was we created a Slack channel called AI Playground, and we're trying to recognise and reward our team members that are using AI, optimizing things, using tools. But the most difficult thing is there's so many tools, it's hard to know what to use. Fortunately, with what we do at Founder, if we want to learn, we go out and interview people that are experts in that. And for us, I think it's just speaking to industry experts, finding out how they're using it and seeing how you can optimize certain processes. We're a big fan of Zapier. Zapier is a great AI automation tool.
Before we move on to Ahmed, you find then that your team, even a tech team, are kind of reluctant to embrace it. Why is that?
I don't know. I think because there's so many tools, it's hard to find out how you can use it. There's so many other things, and I don't know. Have you guys found that it's difficult for your team to wrap their head around it or actually want to use it?
Depends on how old they are, I guess.
Yeah.
Before we ask that question to Ahmed, can we just have a quick survey? How many people use AI a lot? How many people don't use it at all? And how many people aren't going to join in whatever I ask you? Ahmed, your thoughts on AI?
Yeah, so it's very core for what we do. Actually, last year we acquired a conversation AI company to accelerate the product capabilities that we have in AI. In the context of data, I will give you an example. So we run this AI model to predict any, suspicious, attacks or content, in the communication. And we were able to, block thousands of requests daily using AI. Imagine, if you want to do that with resources, how much time and effort and money it will cost. And probably you can't even. So I truly believe AI is a productivity multiplier. I truly believe in the next 5 years, every single industry will pivot into AI or will be disrupted by an AI alternative. It's big, it's happening. A few days ago, Shopify CTO shared a tweet that since they started their engineering, started to use the Copilot, which is an AI technology to auto-write code for developers, they have written 1 million line of code that is now live using Shopify. Yeah.
That's incredible. AI has been in gaming for quite some time anyway, but how do you find that it gets embraced?
So the way we look at AI is you hear a lot of people who are saying AI is going to replace us, right? But that's not really going to be the case. AI is a co-pilot, right? If you're in a plane, the plane doesn't always drive with a pilot. Like there's autopilot almost for the entirety of the duration of a flight, right? And we see it kind of in the same way where it's an assistant. And I don't always mean it's an assistant like, oh, I'm going to ask this question to ChatGPT and they're going to answer. Yeah, obviously they're going to do that. But also about, okay, what can I do? Like, check my code, for example, right? What is the quality of the code that I'm developing, right? And AI is really going to help you to get more out of your own time so that you can focus on what truly matters.
We have a limited amount of time now. Just got about time for a 30-second answer each. If somebody was to start a business right now with a gap in the market, what would you say that gap should be that they should consider? If each of you share that so people can write it down and book the website and then start making their money now, what would you recommend is the area?
I think there's a massive area in AI, like we just talked about. There's so many opportunities, so many tools that can be built.
AI?
Yeah.
So AI, make a mark of that. Ahmed?
Yeah, so I'm biased to B2B businesses. I will say cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity?
Yeah.
And Nicola?
I do agree also with AI, but what I would say also is that you see so much AI companies being launched at the moment, and some of these AI companies are just launched by someone in their bedroom, which is fine because it means the possibilities are endless, right? But it also means that there are good products and bad products. So you can spin up a company so quickly, so fast with AI, in AI, but yeah, just make sure that it really solves the problem. A painkiller was mentioned before. Try to find a product that really solves a problem where customers want to pay for it.
So we've got even less time, but I'd just like to pick from you a couple of bits of advice of what you would say. You run successful businesses and you reach across the world and people know your name. What would you say to a business that starts up, that gets them over that little hump that most people go through where they actually fail and don't get to that point? What would you suggest they should do from your experience of talking to people and what you've grown as a very successful entrepreneur?
Oh, look, I think it has to be an obsession. Anyone that I've spoken to, I've interviewed over 100 billionaires, that it's an obsession. It has to be, if you want to succeed.
So don't talk to the family, don't walk the cat or the dog, just focus all the time on your business.
Look, you've got to have a life, but you have to be prepared to work at least 80 to 100 hours a week, especially in the early days.
Well, not a lot of time for gaming. Ahmed?
Yeah, I will say it's all here. It's not here, building a startup is, probably if you ask me now, if I go back to 2006, I will do it again. I will say no, because I don't realize what I'm, signing up for. But if you have the drive and motivation here, that is enough of energy that will make you sustain and thrive, all the challenges.
I would always make sure to challenge yourself. Find people who can lift you up, who you can talk to, share your problems with, but also who can give you some advice, and not saying advice on what you should be doing, but where they can share their experiences, positive or negative, where you can absorb information from and learn from. That is, in my experience, very vital, because there's no one recipe to succeed in business, but you can learn from people's failures. And by sharing those experiences together, you will just try some different things, or you see some things from a different perspective, and maybe you will find your aha moment after so many weeks of hard work where you just don't see the end of the tunnel.
Fantastic. With that, we've run out of time. It's been an honor to share this time with you. Ladies and gents, please put your hands together for the incredible Nathan, Ahmed, and Nicholas. There you go.
David, thank you for moderating such an interesting panel. Can we give them one more round of applause?
And that's it. I hope you got a lot from that. Some incredible insights, isn't it? And make sure you connect with our three gentlemen on stage. I've left their contact details for LinkedIn within the comment section of this particular post. And make sure you subscribe also to what's going on at MISK for next year. And hopefully we'll see you on a big stage too. Meanwhile, as always, any questions, any comments, any thoughts that you have, get in contact with me directly. I'll be bringing you loads more stuff like this. In fact, there's a second part to my trip to MISK to share with you that'll be coming up in a future episode. But if you're missing all the episodes, you're wondering, where can I catch them all, Dave? They're on Spotify, Apple iTunes, everywhere. Just wherever I am, just Google and subscribe. And there's already 3 seasons of Speak on Stage waiting for you. So that's it for today's episode. Hope you got a lot out of it and look forward to catching up with you soon as well. This is Speak on Stage.